Before we get started, I want to give you all a heads up. This story is very graphic and contains a lot of strong language. So, if that's not your cup of tea, well, you might want to just trickle on out now, because trust me, this one is going to get dicey. And now, without further ado, I present to you The Dogman of Route 42, written and performed by Dr. Whisper. The headlights cut through the darkness, and Dennis wouldn't shut up about the money. 80 grand. That's what Salazar's paying, right? You're absolutely sure Ramon didn't fuck up the numbers? Larry kept his hands on the wheel, eyes fixed on the white line disappearing under the hood. For the 5th time, yes. 80 grand for 20 pounds. That's 4 grand a pound. Seems low to me. It's bulk, Dennis. That's how it works. You buy in quantity, you get a discount. Still seems low. Then don't take your cut. More for me and Mike. Mike leaned forward from the back seat, his elbows resting on the center console. How much longer we talking? Larry glanced at the GPS mounted on his dash. 20 minutes. Maybe less if this road straightens out. They'd been on Route 42 for close to 40 minutes now, winding through the San Bernardino National Forest. The road snaked between pine trees that pressed in from both sides, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out the stars. No other cars, no houses, no lights except their own headlights and the occasional reflective mile marker that would flash and disappear. Larry had done 3 tours in Afghanistan, survived 2 IEDs that turned Humvees into scrap metal and better men into pink mist. Pulled security on convoys through Kandahar, where every pile of trash could hide a bomb, every window could hide a sniper. He'd watched his best friend, a kid from Ohio named Stratton who wanted to be a teacher, step on a pressure plate and just disappear. 1 second he was there, laughing about something stupid. The next second he was gone, and Larry was wiping pieces of him off his uniform. This should have felt easy compared to that. But his hands were sweating on the wheel and his shoulders were tight with tension that wouldn't ease no matter how many times he rolled them. 20 pounds of blow sat in the trunk, vacuum-sealed bricks, wrapped in black plastic and duct tape, compressed down to roughly the size of 2 shoeboxes, worth maybe 400,000 on the street if you cut it right, stretched it out. But they were selling it wholesale to Salazar for 80 grand. Quick flip, clean money. That's what Ramon had promised. Except nothing about this felt quick or clean. You really think Salazar's legit? Mike asked. His voice had that tight edge to it, the sound of someone trying to keep panic at bay. Ramon vouched for him, Larry said. That's not what I asked. What do you want me to say, Mike? That I personally verified his references? That I called the Better Business Bureau to check his rating? I just want to know we're not driving into an ambush. We're not driving into an ambush. How do you know? Because Salazar's been doing this for 20 years and never had a problem. He's smart, doesn't get greedy, doesn't make waves. The kind of criminal the cops don't even bother with because he's not shooting up neighborhoods or selling to kids. That's supposed to make me feel better? It should. It means he's professional. We show up, we make the trade, everybody goes home shitting rainbows. What if we don't go home shitting rainbows? Then we don't go home. Larry's voice was flat. But that's not going to happen. This is a business transaction. We have something he wants. He has something we want. We make the exchange and we leave. It's pretty fucking simple. Dennis snorted. Nothing about this is simple. It is if you don't fuck it up. I'm not going to fuck it up. Then stop asking questions that don't have answers. You're making Mike more nervous. I'm already nervous, Mike said. I've been nervous since we loaded the trunk 2 hours ago. Larry looked at him in the rearview mirror. Mike was 26, baby-faced, despite trying to grow a beard that came in patchy and thin like Joe Dirt. He had student loans from a community college degree that got him a job at a call center making $13 an hour. Dennis had pitched him on this. Easy money, 1 night's work, enough to pay off a chunk of debt and breathe for a few months. Mike had said yes before Dennis finished explaining all the ways it could go wrong. That's what desperation did to people, made them say yes to things they should run from. "You're going to be fine," Larry said. "We all are. Just stay calm and let me do the talking when we get there. What if Salazar asks me something? Then you smile and nod and keep your mouth shut. Can you do that?" "Yeah, I can do that." "Good." Dennis lit a cigarette despite Larry telling him not to smoke in the car. The smell of menthol filled the cabin immediately. He cracked his window about an inch, letting the smoke curl out into the night. "I'm serious about the smoking, Dennis. And I'm seriously ignoring you. My nerves are shot. I need something." "Your nerves are always shot." "Yeah, well, tonight I actually have a reason." Larry knew Dennis from NA meetings, both of them trying to piece their lives back together after the military chewed them up and spit them out broken. Dennis had been maintenance crew at Bagram, never saw combat, never left the wire, but came back with anxiety so crippling he couldn't hold a job for more than a few months. Started using meth to cope. Lost his apartment, lost his girlfriend, almost lost custody of his daughter. He'd been clean for 8 months now. Larry wondered if tonight would reset that clock. "You want to know what I'm going to do with my cut?" Dennis asked, taking a long drag. "I'm going to put it toward a lawyer, get proper visitation rights instead of supervised bullshit once a month." "That's actually smart," Mike said. "Don't sound so surprised." "I just figured you'd blow it all on something stupid. I probably will, but it's nice to pretend I won't." Larry's phone vibrated in the cup holder, rattling against the quarters and dimes. He glanced down. Text from Ramon. "All good?" He picked it up, typed back one-handed, 20 minutes out. The reply came back almost instantly. "Salazar's already there. Don't be late." Larry put the phone down and pressed the gas a little harder. The Honda's engine whined as they climbed a slight grade. "Was that Ramon?" Dennis asked. "Yeah, Salazar's early." "Is that bad?" "It's fine. Just means he's eager. Or impatient. Same thing." Mike shifted in the back seat. "Tell me about Salazar again. I want to know what we're walking into." Larry sighed. They'd been over this 3 times already, but he understood the need to hear it again. Information was comfort. Details made you feel prepared even when you weren't. Ernesto Salazar, 58 years old, used to run product for the Sinaloa cartel back in the 90s. Mid-level guy, nothing flashy. Moved to the States in 2003 after some internal politics went sideways. Word is he pissed off the wrong person's nephew or something. He bought a tree farm outside San Bernardino and has been using it as a front ever since. And he's never been busted? Once, back in 2009. Possession with intent. His lawyer got it knocked down to simple possession, and he did 18 months at Chino. Came out and went right back to business. How is that possible? Because he's smart. He doesn't get greedy, doesn't move huge quantities, doesn't deal with street gangs or anyone who's going to draw heat. He finds guys like us, people who need money, who won't talk if things go south, and he makes quiet deals that nobody notices. The perfect criminal, Mike said. Pretty much. That's not exactly comforting. It should be. Means he's not going to do anything stupid tonight. He wants this deal as much as we do. Dennis flicked ash out the window. What about his guys? How many we expecting? Ramon said probably 2. Maybe 3 if we're unlucky. Salazar doesn't do the exchanges himself anymore. Too risky. He sends his people. Armed? Assume yes. Great. That's just great. We're not bringing guns, so it doesn't matter. Why aren't we bringing guns? Because if we get pulled over with 20 pounds of cocaine, that's possession with intent. Bad, but manageable if you can afford a good lawyer. If we get pulled over with drugs and guns, that's armed trafficking. That's mandatory minimum federal time. That's the rest of your life in a cage. What if Salazar's guys decide to rob us? They won't. But what if they do? Then we're fucked and there's nothing we can do about it anyway, So why worry about it now? Dennis went quiet. He smoked his cigarette down to the filter and immediately lit another one. His leg was bouncing up and down, nervous energy he couldn't contain. The road started to level out, running through a valley between two ridgelines. Larry could see the GPS track. They were about 12 minutes from Timber Ridge Road, which would take them another 3 miles to the property where Salazar was waiting. 12 minutes until they made 80 grand, or 12 minutes until everything went wrong. You ever think about what happens after? Mike asked. After what? After tonight, after we get the money. You think things actually get better? Larry thought about that, about the rent he owed, the credit cards he'd maxed out, the VA disability checks that weren't enough to live on, the nightmares that kept him awake, the way his hands shook unless he had a drink in them. I don't know, he said honestly. But 22 grand buys me time to figure it out. Time to figure it out, Mike repeated. Yeah, I guess that's something. What would you do with your cut? Dennis asked him. Pay off my student loans, or at least make a serious dent in them. That's boring as hell. I'm drowning in debt, Dennis. Boring sounds pretty good right now. You're both depressing, Dennis said. You know that? You get a chance at some actual money and all you can think about is paying bills. What would you do? Larry asked. Vegas. Blow it all on blackjack and strippers. You'd be broke again in a week. Probably, but I'd have stories. Stories don't pay rent. No, but they're more fun than your student loan payments. They drove in silence for a while. The trees seemed to press even closer, like the forest was trying to swallow the road. Larry turned on the high beams, but it didn't help much, just made the darkness beyond the headlights seem deeper. His phone buzzed again. Another text from Ramon. You close? 10 minutes. Good. Salazar's getting antsy. Larry didn't like that. Antsy meant unpredictable. Antsy meant things could go sideways fast. Everything okay? Dennis had seen his face. Fine. Ramon's just checking in. You sure? Yes, I'm sure. Stop reading into everything. But Dennis was right to be paranoid. They all should be. They were 3 amateurs about to make a drug deal with a career criminal in the middle of nowhere at midnight. Every instinct Larry had developed in Afghanistan, the ones that kept him alive when better men died, was screaming that something was wrong. He ignored them. Because what choice did he have? They were committed now. The product was in the trunk. Salazar was waiting. They couldn't turn back even if they wanted to. The GPS said 8 minutes. When we get there, Larry said, I want both of you to stay calm. Don't look nervous. Don't look scared. These guys can smell fear and they'll use it against you. How do I not look scared when I'm terrified? Mike asked. Fake it. Think about something else. Think about what you're going to do with the money. Think about anything except where you are and what you're doing. That's not helpful. It's the best advice I've got. Dennis finished his second cigarette and rolled the window up. The car fell silent except for the engine noise and the hum of tires on asphalt. Larry checked the GPS again. 6 minutes. His phone buzzed. He looked down, expecting another text from Ramon. Instead, it was a news alert. Breaking. Multiple 911 calls report screaming in San Bernardino National Forest. Sheriff's Department investigating. Larry's stomach tightened. The San Bernardino National Forest. That's where they were, right now. What's wrong? Dennis had seen his face again. Nothing. Just a news alert. About what? Doesn't matter. Larry, what's the alert about? Larry hesitated. Then he handed Dennis the phone. Dennis read it, his face going pale. Screaming. What the fuck does that mean? It means someone's hurt. Or in trouble. Could be anything. Could be anything. We're in the middle of the forest where someone's supposedly screaming, and you think that could be anything? What do you want me to say, Dennis? You want to turn around, drive back, tell Salazar we changed our minds because of a news alert? Maybe. We're not turning around. Larry, we're not turning around. We're 6 minutes out. We make the trade and we leave. That's it. Mike leaned forward. What if whatever's making people scream is at Salazar's place? It's not. You don't know that. You're right, I don't. But I know we've got 20 pounds of cocaine in the trunk and a drug dealer waiting for us, and no way to get out of this except forward. So we go forward. The GPS said 4 minutes. Larry's hands were slick on the wheel. His heart was pounding harder than it should be. All those survival instincts from Afghanistan were screaming at him to turn around, to get the hell out, to run. He ignored them. That's when the steering wheel jerked hard to the left. What the hell? Larry fought it, both hands gripping tight. The car started to wobble, a rhythmic thumping coming from the front right. Are you serious right now? Dennis grabbed the dashboard. I'm not doing it on purpose. The Honda pulled violently to the right. Larry eased off the gas, trying to maintain control as the car shuddered and bucked. The thumping got worse. He could smell burning rubber. What's happening? Mike's voice was high, panicked. Blow out, Larry said through gritted teeth. He guided the car toward the shoulder, fighting the wheel as they slowed. Sparks flew from under the front right corner, the tire completely shredded, the rim grinding against asphalt. He brought them to a stop just before the ditch, killed the engine. For a moment nobody moved, just sat there in the sudden silence, listening to the tick of the cooling engine and their own rapid breathing. Outside, the forest was alive with sound, crickets chirping, tree frogs croaking. Fucking perfect, Dennis said. Unfucking believable. Larry popped his door. Stay in the car. I'll check the damage. You want us to just sit here? Yes. Lock the doors after I get out. He stepped into the cold night air. His breath misted immediately. The temperature had dropped at least 10 degrees since they'd entered the forest. He pulled his jacket tighter and walked around the front of the car, pulling out his phone for the flashlight. The tire was completely destroyed. Shredded rubber hung in strips, exposing the bare rim underneath. He crouched down to get a better look at what had caused it. His stomach dropped. 4 parallel cuts ran through the sidewall, deep, clean, perfectly spaced about 2 inches apart. Not a blowout, not road debris. Something had slashed his tire. Larry? Dennis's voice was muffled through the closed window. What's wrong? Larry stood up, shining his light over the cuts again, making absolutely sure he was seeing what he thought he was seeing. He was. Larry! Dennis's voice was louder now, more insistent. Larry looked up at the car. Through the windshield, he could see both Dennis and Mike staring at him, their faces pale in the dashboard glow. Tire's fucked, he called out. Something cut it. He couldn't hear Dennis's response, but he could read his lips. What the fuck? Larry moved to the trunk, popped it open. The black duffel sat there, 20 pounds of cocaine and 80,000 reasons to keep moving forward despite every instinct screaming at him to run. He moved the duffel aside and lifted the carpet to access the spare tire well. Empty. No. No. He slammed his hand on the trunk lid. Fuck. What? Dennis had rolled down his window an inch. What's wrong? No spare. I used it 3 months ago and never replaced it. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Do I sound like I'm kidding? So we're stuck? Yes, we're stuck. Well, what the hell are we supposed to do? Larry looked down the road. Nothing but darkness in both directions. The last town was at least 15 miles back. Salazar's property was maybe 4 miles ahead, but they couldn't exactly walk there carrying 20 pounds of cocaine. He checked his phone. The service bar teetered on 1, then fell to 0. No signal either, he called out. We're completely fucked. Dennis said something Larry couldn't hear through the window. Mike was leaning forward, pointing at something behind Larry. Larry turned. The tree line was about 20 feet away, pines and brush creating a wall of darkness that the phone's flashlight couldn't penetrate. Something moved in that darkness. Probably just a deer, Larry muttered, but his hand was shaking as he shined the light toward the movement. A branch cracked. Then another. Something large moving towards him. "Guys!" Larry's voice came out tighter than he wanted. "I'm getting back in the car now." He moved toward the driver's door, eyes still on the tree line. His hand found the door handle. It was locked. "Dennis, unlock the door, you dumbass." Through the window, he could see Dennis fumbling with the lock button. Mike was in the back seat, his face pressed against the window, staring past Larry at something in the woods. "Dennis, hurry up!" The branches were moving more now. Whatever was in there was getting closer. Larry could hear it, the crunch of dead leaves, the snap of twigs. "Dennis!" The lock clicked. Larry grabbed the handle, started to pull the door open. Something hit him from behind with the force of a linebacker. The impact drove him forward into the doorframe. His ribs cracked. His phone flew from his hand, the light spinning across the gravel before going dark. Before he could process what was happening, claws sank into his shoulders. The pain was immediate and overwhelming, like being stabbed with hot knives that ground against bone. Larry screamed, a raw animal sound he didn't recognize as his own voice. He was lifted off the ground. His feet kicked uselessly at empty air. Through the open door, he could see Dennis and Mike, both of them frozen, mouths open, eyes wide with horror. "Help me!" Larry's voice cracked. "Please help!" Teeth closed around his throat, not biting, not yet, just pressure, warning. Larry could feel them, individual teeth pressing into his skin. Some were as long as his fingers. He tried to speak, tried to scream. But he couldn't draw breath with that massive jaw clamped around his neck. The last thing he saw was Dennis lunging forward, grabbing the door handle, pulling it shut. Then he was being dragged backward into the trees. Branches scraped his face and arms. The teeth tightened. Pressure became tearing. Larry felt his throat open up, felt the hot rush of his own blood pouring down his chest. The world tilted and blurred. He could see the stars through gaps in the canopy, could hear Mike screaming from inside the car, could feel his life draining out of him with each heartbeat. Then everything went dark and quiet and cold. "Oh God, oh God, oh God." Mike was hyperventilating, his hands pressed against the window. Dennis slammed the lock button down with his palm. "Get up here! Driver's seat! Now!" "What? Move! We need to go!" They scrambled over the center console. Dennis ended up behind the wheel, Mike in the passenger seat. Dennis's hands shook so violently he could barely turn keys in the ignition. "Hurry!" Mike was watching the tree line where Larry had disappeared, where that thing had dragged him. "We need to go right now." Dennis turned the key. The engine caught, sputtered, caught again. "Come on, come on, come on!" The engine roared to life. Dennis slammed the car into drive and floored the gas pedal. The Honda lurched forward on the destroyed tire. The rim screamed against asphalt, throwing a shower of sparks. The whole car shook like it was coming apart. "Faster! I'm trying! The wheel won't—" The car was pulling hard right, the destroyed tire making it almost impossible to steer. They hit 15 miles an hour, 20. The steering wheel fought Dennis with every foot they traveled. "Just keep going, don't stop." 25, 30. The rim was grinding itself down to nothing. The smell of burning metal filled the car. Dennis tried to hold them steady, but the car had other ideas. The front end caught on something, a pothole or a piece of the disintegrated tire, and suddenly they were swerving left. "Watch out!" Mike grabbed the dashboard. Dennis cranked the wheel right, overcorrecting. The back end slid. They hit the shoulder at an angle, gravel spraying. Dennis slammed the brakes, but it was too late. They went airborne. For one sickening moment, there was nothing but the sensation of falling. Then the car hit the bottom of the ditch with a crunch that rattled Mike's teeth. The airbags deployed with a bang like gunshots. The windshield cracked in a spiderweb pattern. Steam hissed from under the hood. The engine died. Mike's ears rang, his face hurt where the airbag had hit him. "Dennis, you okay?" "Yeah." Dennis's voice was shaky. Blood ran from his nose. "You?" "I think so." They sat there for a moment, stunned, getting their bearings. Then something hit the roof. The whole car rocked violently. Metal groaned and buckled inward. "Oh, Jesus," Mike whispered. "It's on top of us." The roof dented again, deeper this time. Whatever was up there was massive. "Dennis, start the car." "I'm trying." Dennis turned the key. The engine clicked but wouldn't turn over. "It's flooded or something. Fuck." "Try again." Click, click, click. Claws punched through the metal roof like it was nothing. Long curved claws attached to a furry hand. The claws swept through the interior, missing Dennis's head by inches. "Out!" Mike grabbed his door handle. "We have to get out!" He shoved the door open and threw himself out into the ditch. His feet hit soft dirt and he stumbled, went to his knees, scrambled back up. Dennis was right behind him, bursting out of the driver's side door. "Run!" Dennis's voice was high and cracked. "Just fucking run!" Mike didn't need to be told twice. He ran into the trees, branches whipping his face, roots trying to trip him. His lungs burned. His legs felt like jelly. Behind him, he could hear Dennis crashing through the underbrush. And behind Dennis, something else. Something big. Something that moved through the forest like it owned it. Mike broke through the tree line onto the road. Asphalt stretched in both directions, empty and dark. Except, no, not completely empty. Red and blue lights flashed in the distance, maybe 100 yards up the road. "Police!" The word came out as a gasp. "There's police!" They ran toward the lights, waving their arms, screaming, "Help! Help us!" A flashlight beam hit Mike directly in the face, blinding him. "Stop right there! Don't move!" The voice was young, male, authoritative. Mike skidded to a stop, hands going up automatically. Dennis crashed into him from behind, nearly knocking them both over. A cop stepped into view, mid-20s, clean cut, hand resting on his holstered gun. His name tag read, Welch. "Please." Mike could barely get the words out between gasping breaths. "You have to help us. There's something in the woods. It killed our friend." "Slow down." Welch's flashlight swept over them both, checking for weapons. "What killed your friend?" "I don't know. It was huge. It grabbed Larry and dragged him into the trees and... Have you been drinking tonight? Using any drugs?" "What? No. I'm telling you, there's something out there. We need to leave. Right now." "Okay. I need both of you to calm down." Welch's free hand moved closer to his gun. "Turn around, hands behind your back." "You're not listening to me." Mike's voice cracked. "That thing killed Larry. It's still out there. We can't stay here. Turn around. Now." "But... now." Mike turned. Cold metal clicked around his wrists. Handcuffs tight enough to bite into skin. Then Dennis got the same treatment. Welch walked them both to his cruiser, opened the back door, and guided them inside. The door shut with a heavy, final sound. Through the metal cage separating the front and back seats, Mike watched Welch key his radio. "Unit 7 to dispatch. I've got 2 individuals on Route 42 acting erratically, claiming something attacked them. Possible drug use, requesting backup." "Copy, Unit 7. Backup en route. ETA 15 minutes. "Copy that." 15 minutes. They had to survive 15 minutes. Welch looked at them through the cage. "Either of you hurt? Need medical attention?" "No," Dennis said quietly. "We're fine." "What are your names?" "Dennis. This is Mike." "Okay, Dennis and Mike. You said something attacked your friend. Where is he now?" "Back there." Mike nodded toward the darkness. "Maybe half a mile. Our car went into the ditch and this thing... describe it." Mike opened his mouth, closed it. "How did you describe something like that?" "It was big," he finally said. 7, maybe 8 feet tall. It walked on 2 legs but hunched forward. Had fur, dark fur, and the head. He swallowed. The head looked like a wolf. Welch's expression changed. Not belief. Skepticism mixed with concern. The look cops get when they think you're on drugs or having a mental health crisis. "Okay, I'm going to check out your story. You two sit tight." Don't! Mike kicked the seat. Please don't go down there. It'll kill you. I'll be fine. Just stay calm. Welch grabbed a larger flashlight from the front seat and stepped out of the cruiser. Mike watched him walk down the road, his flashlight beam bouncing with each step. He doesn't believe us, Dennis said. Would you? If someone told you there was a fucking werewolf in the woods? It's not a werewolf. Then what the fuck is it? Dennis didn't answer. They sat in silence, both of them watching the darkness where Welch had disappeared. 1 minute passed. 2, 3. Then Welch's voice crackled over the radio.
Dispatch, Unit 7. I found their vehicle. Silver Honda Civic in the ditch. There's blood on the ground. Fresh blood. And I can hear something moving in the...
Static, then screaming, high-pitched and desperate. It went on for several seconds before cutting off abruptly.
Unit 7, report your status.
Silence.
Unit 7, do you copy?
Nothing. Dennis made a sound like he'd been punched in the stomach. Mike just stared at the radio, his mind unable to process what he'd just heard. He's dead, Dennis whispered. Just like Larry. That thing killed him. We tried to warn him. We're next. You know that, right? We're locked in this car and that thing's coming back and we're next. Mike didn't argue, because Dennis was right. They were trapped, handcuffed in the back of a police cruiser with no way to escape. They were fucked no matter which way they put it. They sat in the darkness, listening to their own rapid breathing, waiting. 5 minutes passed, 6, 7. Then headlights appeared from the north, another police cruiser moving fast. It slid to a stop behind Welch's car, red and blues flashing. An older cop got out, heavyset, maybe 50, with graying hair visible under his hat. His name tag read, Martins. He had his gun drawn. "Welch?" he called out into the darkness. "Unit 7, where are you?" No answer except the wind through the trees. Martins approached their cruiser cautiously, saw them in the back seat. "You two all right?" "Your partner's dead," Mike said. His voice came out flat, empty. "He went to check our car and something killed him. Same thing that killed our friend Larry." "What are you talking about?" "There's a creature in the woods. It's hunting us." Martins stared at him. "A creature. I know how it sounds, but it's true. We saw it. It grabbed Larry and killed him. Then Officer Welch went down there and..." Mike's voice broke. "And now he's dead too." Martins keyed his radio. "Unit 12 to dispatch. Welch isn't responding. I need immediate backup to this location."
Copy, Unit 12. Backup is en route. ETA 8 minutes.
"Make it faster." Martins looked at them again. "I'm going to check on Welch. Stay in the vehicle." "Don't go down there," Mike was shouting now. "It'll kill you. It killed the others and it'll kill you too." But Martins was already walking, flashlight in hand, moving down the road where Welch had gone. Dennis was shaking. Mike could feel it even though they weren't touching. 8 minutes. We have to last 8 more minutes. We're going to die before then. Don't say that. It's true, look at what's happened. Larry's dead. Welch is dead. Martins is about to be dead. And then it's coming for us. Mike wanted to argue, wanted to say something hopeful, but he couldn't, because everything Dennis said was true. A minute passed. The only sound was their breathing and the occasional crackle of the radio. Then Mike saw it. Movement in the tree line. Something big, moving parallel to the road. "Dennis." "I see it." The creature stepped onto the asphalt. It seemed more massive than before. Broad shoulders tapering to a narrow waist. Long arms, ending in those terrible hands with their curved claws. And the head. That horrible wolf's head with its elongated snout full of teeth. It was covered in blood. Fresh blood that dripped from its muzzle and claws, leaving a trail of dark spots on the road. It looked directly at them. Even from this distance, Mike could see its eyes, yellow and bright. It knew they were trapped, knew they were helpless, and it was smiling. The creature started walking toward them, slow, unhurried, taking its time. "Oh, God," Dennis whispered. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Mike pulled at his handcuffs, trying to break them. The metal just dug deeper into his wrists. Blood ran down his hands. The creature reached Welch's cruiser. It placed one massive hand on the hood, claws scraping across the paint, and looked at them. A gunshot cracked through the night. The creature's head snapped to the left. Martin stood in the middle of the road, gun raised. Stop! Don't move! The creature turned toward him. Martin's fired again. The bullet hit the creature, punching through fur and flesh. Blood began to dribble down its fur. The creature looked down at the wound, looked back at Martin's, and charged. It moved so fast. 1 second it was standing still, the next it was on Martin's. The cop got off 3 more shots. Mike saw at least 2 hit before the creature drove him backward off the road. Martin's disappeared into the ditch. His flashlight beam spun wildly, illuminating nothing but trees and sky. Then the screaming started. Mike closed his eyes, but he couldn't block out the sounds. The wet tearing, the crunch of bones breaking, Martin's begging, his voice high and desperate, before it was cut off with a horrible finality. Then silence. Mike opened his eyes. The creature climbed back onto the road. It was completely covered in blood now, its own and Martin's. It walked back to their cruiser, put both massive hands on the roof, and pulled. Metal screamed in protest. The roof started to tear away from the frame, peeling back like the lid of a tin can. No, 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 no. Dennis was trying to make himself smaller, pressing himself into the corner of the back seat. Mike just watched, numb. This was it. This was how it ended. The roof tore free completely. The creature tossed it aside. It looked down at them. Up close, Mike could see every detail, the patches of pale skin showing through the fur. The different types of teeth, some long and curved, some straight, some that looked almost human. The eyes that studied them with an intelligence that was somehow worse than mindless animal rage. The creature reached down. Its claws closed around Dennis. Mike! Dennis screamed, kicking and thrashing. Mike, help me! The creature lifted Dennis out of the car effortlessly. Dennis fought, punched and kicked and screamed, but it didn't matter. The claws just dug deeper into his chest. The creature held Dennis up to its face, studied him for a moment like he was some curious specimen. Then its jaws opened wide. Mike turned his head. He couldn't watch, but he couldn't block out the sounds. The crunch, the wet tearing, Dennis's screaming that became gurgling, that became nothing. Something heavy hit the ground next to the cruiser. Mike looked. What was left of Dennis lay on the asphalt. Not much, just pieces. The creature turned back to Mike. Blood dripped from its jaws. It reached down. Sirens wailed in the distance. The creature paused, its head tilted, listening. The sirens were getting closer. Multiple vehicles by the sound of it. The creature looked at Mike one more time. Its lips pulled back in some kind of shit-eating grin. Then it turned and loped off into the woods, disappearing into the darkness like it had never been there at all. Mike sat there, alone, covered in blood that wasn't his, handcuffed in the back of a destroyed police cruiser. The sirens got louder. Red and blue lights appeared. 3 cruisers coming fast. They slid to a stop, doors flying open, cops pouring out with guns drawn. One of them approached the destroyed cruiser, an older cop with sergeant's stripes. He looked at Mike, at the blood, at what was left of Dennis on the ground. Jesus Christ. He keyed his radio with a shaking hand. Dispatch, we need every available unit. We need paramedics. We need... He stopped, stared at Mike. What happened here, son? Mike tried to speak. His mouth moved, but no sound came out at first. He swallowed, tried again. It killed them. It killed them all. What killed them? I don't know what to call it. It looked like a wolf, but it walked like a man, and it was so big and... Mike's voice broke. It's still out there, still hunting. And you can't stop it. Your guns don't work. Nothing works. You need the fucking military, the fucking military. Hey everyone, I just want to take a minute to thank you for sticking around until the end. I hope you enjoyed my story. I also wanted to share a little something with you all. Making these videos takes a lot of time and effort, and as you know, I'm not currently earning any money from YouTube. And honestly, the chances of that happening again are pretty slim. I do have a full-time job and a family to support, so I've never relied on YouTube income for that. That said, I've been feeling the loss of that extra income more and more. And it really hits hard when I see other amazing, talented narrators getting demonetized for the same reason I did. For example, Vidith22 and Just Creepy have both been affected, and that's a major blow, considering how long they've been creating. It's tough seeing YouTube's automated systems make these kinds of mistakes and impact people's livelihoods. If you want to help support creators like us, one thing you can do is head over to Twitter and tag YouTube in a post sharing how you feel about the situation. I'm not sure how much it will help, but if enough of us make some noise, maybe we can make a dent. And of course, if you enjoy what I do and want to support me directly, it would mean the world if you could consider becoming a member on my Patreon. The link is in the description of this video, or you can search for Dr. Whisper on Patreon. I just want to say thank you all so much for being here, for watching and for supporting me in any way you can. I literally have the most amazing community on this platform, and I truly love you all.